Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Mickve Israel in Savannah, Georgia. A particular welcome for the brave souls who came out tonight. Now, grant you it's better than last night, but also to those watching on whatever device you're watching, whether you're in Savannah or in Madrid, wherever you are. I also want to welcome you all and mention that, of course, it is Veterans Day, and we owe an enormous debt of gratitude to all the veterans, those who gave their lives, those who are still with us, and frankly, those who are still serving. It's an important holiday, and we need to be very mindful of it. My name is Marek Lawanda. Clearly, I am not Rabbi Haas, who is taking a few days of well-deserved vacation. He'll be back in time for the food festival on Sunday. Let's begin with the candle lighting. Kathy, if you'd join us on the bima to light the candles and say the bracha. We'll wait for you. Amen. Thank you. We'll begin with an opening reading. Now, there are, for those of you who join us regularly on Friday night, you know that there are two Sidurim, two prayer books. The one that is here in the sanctuary, which I call Mishkan Tefillah Light, because it just has Shabbat in it, and the one I am using, which some of you may also be using, which I call the weightlifter's version of Mishkan Tefillah, which has Shabbat and as well as the holidays. And the reason I mention that is because, of course, the page numbers don't align. So I will try to remember to give you the page numbers of where we are in both books. The first page number will be the light version, and the second will be the heavier version, which probably fewer of you use. So let's begin on page 6, at the top of the page, reading together. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout that long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors in lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now, we in our turn come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of their lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. We now move to our opening prayer, L'Chadodi, and I'll ask you to stand. It is on page 20 in the light version and page 138 in the larger book. And we will be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And we have a special guest with us tonight, Kelly Blackmore, through the wonders of technology and electronics.
B'nei Shabbat nekabela lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zakor b'dibor echad ishmianu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem ultiferet v'litahila lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechuvnei ilcha ki makor habaraka merosh mechedem nesucha sof mashei b'machshavat hila lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri, kiva orek kumi uri, shir dabiri, kavod Adonai alayich nidla, lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela boi v'shalom
We rise and face the door to welcome the Sabbath bride.
Come besimcha uvetzola Tol kemunei am segula Boi kala lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela lekadodi lekrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela
If you'll remain standing, or stand if you've decided to sit down in the interim, we're going to turn to the Baruch Hu, which is on page 28 or 146. As is the tradition here, we'll read first in Hebrew and English and then chant it. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach liolam va'ed. Praised be Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praised be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamivorach. Baruch Adonai hamivorach liolam va'ed. Page 31 or page 149. We will read, I think, at the top of the page. This is the prayer of creation. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glides. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night as heaven spans to infinity. You set its course for eternity. Praise you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. And turning the page, at the top of the page, on page 151, It's always a little difficult. It's 33 in the smaller book. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And then on the next page, the watchword of our people, the Shema. We read first and then sing. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Liolam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Liolam Va'ed. And on the following page, the V'ahavta, you may be seated. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol miodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'shachbecha b'derech u'shachbecha ufkumecha u'kshartam liyot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Now let's read together in English at the bottom of the page. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them for a sign on your hand and let them be as symbols on your forehead. For inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. I am the God of truth. Now, let's turn to page 40, 158. And Kelly will lead us in Michamocha.
Moshe
Page 43 or 161 at the top, the short paragraph there. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. And now, back to Kelly, page 40 or 158, the Micha Mocha. I liked the Micha Mocha so much I wanted to do it twice, but Bishamru is a much better follow-on. We're up to the Amida, Avot and Gevurot, as it's called. It's going to be on page 48 and 50 in the smaller book, and 166 and 168 in the larger. I'll chant it in Hebrew, and then we'll read it together in English. If you'll please rise for the Amida. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ביאהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות umido meloch, melech meimit, umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemanata liachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. And now back to previous page to read it in English. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, God of our fathers and mothers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Rachel, God of Leah, the great, mighty, and awesome God, transcendent God, who bestows loving kindness, creates everything out of love, remembers the love of our fathers and mothers, and brings redemption to their children for the sake of the divine name. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. Interestingly, that this new prayer book of the Union of Reformed Judaism includes the phrase revive the dead, which in Hebrew is Mechaye HaMeitim, which really the Reform movement got away from. I'm surprised. I've always been surprised that they put it in as an option. So giving life to all, great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully giving life to all? You may be seated. We'll read in English at the bottom of page 54 or 172 in the larger book. All the way at the bottom, the prayer for Shabbat. O God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us our heritage, your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Now, on page 56 or 172, Ritzeh. Now, if you'll read along with me on page 59 or 177 on the top of the page. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimacha udechon ma'eh lehodot. And now the closing of the Amida, the Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atah melech Adon l'kol hashalom. Ki atah melech Adon l'kol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. B'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. B'kol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim
We now come to what I find personally one of the most moving parts of the service, the Mishaberach. I guess every religion has some sort of a prayer in their service that is for the ill, but I find this one in Judaism, and in particular the way Debbie Friedman has composed it and written it, to be particularly touching and emotional for me. So it's on page 253 or 371. But first, if you have anyone by name or in your heart who needs physical or spiritual healing, please share it with us, as I said, either out loud or in your heart. Those of you at home can do it to yourself. Debbie Friedman's Mishaberach.
Leimotenu
us take a moment or two of silent prayer or meditation.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing.
That's just beautiful. This is the point in our service where we typically share good things that have happened to us. Unfortunately, those of you who are watching the live stream can't really participate. We should work out that technology someday, Jason. But for those of you here in the sanctuary, if anyone has anything, okay. Then I'm going to combine two things and make everybody very happy. This is also the point at which the rabbi typically gives a sermon. I am not going to do that, and you'll get home earlier. I did put down that I thought I'd just share a few thoughts, and I was thinking, what thoughts would they be? And I guess they really fall into two categories, very brief. The first I referred to when I opened the service and greeted you and said, this is Veterans Day. Here in Savannah, the parade will be tomorrow. Because of the weather, they moved it, and our service will be only streamed because you can't get here. But today is the actual Veterans Day, November 11th. And all of us, I think, have an enormous amount to be thankful for to those who have served and given their lives, those who have served and mercifully survived, and also those who continue to serve and will someday be classified as veterans formally. The other thought that I had was, in the last month or so, we've seen some awful things happen in this part of the country. They're called hurricanes. Ian caused enormous destruction, particularly in Florida and I'm painfully aware of it because I have two friends, one who lives in Punta Gorda and one who lives in Venice, and really had a lot of damage done, thank God, not to themselves, but to their homes. And then, of course, we just had Nicole, who hit the East Coast, and fortunately, in both cases, neither of them really got to Savannah. So I think those are two things that we can all be thankful for. The fact that we live really in a wonderful country that has maintained its freedom with the help of veterans, and the second, that we have survived another hurricane season healthy and in one piece. So for that, a Shehecheyanu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. The Aleinu is on page 282 or 586. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרשות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. You may be seated, and we'll complete the Aleinu a few pages on. Page 599, I think, 591 or 287 in the smaller book. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. And now we come to another more solemn part of the service, the Kaddish, and we begin remembering those who have given their lives for their country, whether they're soldiers or first responders or whatever. I'd like to remember all those who have died valiantly protecting their country in the Ukraine. And I think we should also remember, again, those who died in the two hurricanes that have recently passed through this area. More from Ian, but still 4 from Nicole. And we also remember the following yahrzeits: Mary Lou Bairnsfather, Lillian Rubenstein Butcher, Bertha Billman Friedman, W. Leon Friedman Sr., Charles Furch-Gott Sr., Judith Asnan Glazier, Max E. Guthman, Solomon Hirsch, Gussie Rodenwad Ignatoff, I. Ray Kilpatrick, Rebecca Kraft, Sigo R. Mendel, Eden Mickelman, Moritz Rabinowitz, Norman David Richard, Edward Shapiro, Roz Shapiro, Mildred Weichenbaum, Edgar Wartzman, Bernard Ungar, Sadie Schoenig Utitz, and Dr. Joseph I. Zerman. The Kaddish is on page, depending on which book it is, the Kaddish is on page 294 or 598. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimru amen, Yehei shmei Rabbah, mevorach li'olam l'almei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmeid kudsha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yimru amen, Yehei shlama Rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen, oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. You may be seated, and I can be seated too, because it's now time for our wonderful Parnasit, Leslie Westmoreland, to make some announcements. I get a break.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you especially for leading such a wonderful service tonight. We are so fortunate in this congregation to have wonderful lay leaders who are able to step in for Rabbi when he needs to be away, and this service was very special tonight. Thank you to Kathy for ushering tonight and taking part in the service. Thank you to Jason for making this all work, and thank you to Kelly, whose wonderful voice we got to hear tonight. So I do have a few announcements. First of all, I know Mark mentioned it at the beginning of services, but to mention it again, there will be no live services tomorrow morning because of the parade. The parade runs right by the synagogue, and so we opted to just stream the services tomorrow. They have been pre-recorded, and they will be on the YouTube channel. So please join us. Dr. Joel Greenberg led the services, and they will be wonderful. So please join us on YouTube for those. And then we will be back in the sanctuary for services the following Friday night. A huge reminder to everyone that we are so excited to be back in the food festival business after a couple of years where we couldn't get together in person for that. On Sunday from 11 to 3, our food festival, our Shalom Y'all Food Festival, will take place outside the sanctuary on Wayne Street, outside the synagogue, and on Bull Street. So please plan to join us. We will have a lot of the old favorites, and some new treats, and it'll just be a very fun day, and the weather is going to be glorious. So please come out and join us for that. I also want to remind, this was in Jennifer's e-blast, but just to remind you all that we have 2 opportunities to see the Ghost Pirates and to benefit different parts of the synagogue. On Thursday, December 1st, that's a event for women of Mickve Israel and their guests, so call the office if you'd like to attend on that date. And also on Sunday, December 11th, the Shalom School will be having a fundraiser and is selling tickets to go to the Ghost Pirates, and some of that money will benefit the Shalom School. So please look at the email. Jennifer's e-blast has more information about both of those things. I also want to announce that on November 22nd at 6 p.m., that's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, it's our annual interfaith service, Thanksgiving service, that a lot of the downtown houses of worship participate in. This year it will be at the Lutheran Church of the Ascension, and that's just a very special moment where people of all faiths get together and for a wonderful Thanksgiving service. So please plan to attend that. That's all the announcements. Mark, can you think of anything I missed? Everyone, Shabbat Shalom. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see everybody on Sunday.
Thank you, Leslie. We're going to have our concluding hymn prayer. It's on page, if my eyesight were better, I wouldn't stumble. Page 341 or page 645. Again, another Debbie Friedman song. God, I love her. Such a great loss. And if you'd like to stand for the final hymn, L'chi Lach. We'll do Kiddush and Motzi, and you'll be on your way. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavonu, v'shabbat kadsho b'yahava, uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit. Ki hu yom techila l'mikrae kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kadshecha, b'yahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Thank you all for coming. Shabbat Shalom. Safe home.